Hello Book Warriors, this is Jory's Books and my name is Joe. And I'm not in my usual spot, as you can see, because I have a door behind me. And I call this place the dungeon because it's so small and cramped and has everything in it. But that's beside the point. This is my September wrap up as well as my October TBR. So I'm just going to go straight into it. Having not read the books I said I was going to read, I don't think I said that I was going to read this book, but I ended up reading Tom Reynolds' Meta, which is all about superheroes and being an awesome superhero and villains, and yeah, it's just superhero fantastic, and it's an interesting read. It was a fun read, very action packed. It's the first book in a duology, I believe, and it's very much opening up the world to you. There's not really a whole lot going on originally, but it's an interesting story. I will probably get the second book in this just because I want to know what's going to happen next. And it was just really interesting, really fun, and it was nice to get a superhero book because I haven't read a superhero book in so long, and this was the first one that's properly a superhero book, which has flying and super strength and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, this was, and Secret Identities, which makes it even better. So this was pretty fun to read, and I actually really enjoyed it. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5, or I could give it a 5. I'm not 100% sure, I can't remember. But I really enjoyed it. And I really liked it. So the second book I read in September was, of course, a really girly book for my standards, and that was The School of Good and Evil. And yes, when I say girly book, this is marketed more towards girls and as fellas and towards teenagers and children. I really, really like this book. This book follows a very good theme of don't judge the book by its cover. And I got this very early on in the book, so that kind of really stood out to me. And I kind of already knew what's going to happen. I knew kind of the plot from the beginning, really, kind of. But still really, really good. Being told the next 2 books are fantastic as well, so I'm going to get my hands on those books and I'm going to give them a read. I gave this book 5 out of 5 because I loved it. It's a pure fairy tale. And there's nothing wrong with a fairy tale, and it's a book that I will be reading to my nephews when I get a chance to read, because they're at that age where fairy tales, it doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl, it's a fairy tale. There's not much of a love interest in this story, so there's none of that kind of stuff, which made it even better. And there's a bit of magic in this that's quite fun, and I really enjoyed it. And I think I recommend it, really do recommend it. The last book I read in September was a book that's been sitting on my bookshelf for such a long time. Is Snow Like Ashes. And again, this book, very predictable. Very, very predictable. But I really enjoyed it. This is a dystopian, I believe. Yeah, it's dystopian, I suppose. It's after the downfall of winter, and they lost their magic and they're in search to get their magic back. We have a main protagonist who's a female character, and she's just kick ass as well as all female protagonists that are these days. They're all kick ass and they don't have any flaws. Well, she does have flaws, but I'm not going into that much detail. But it was an interesting book. It was kind of predictable. I kind of knew early on from some of the text in it that who she was and what she was going to be doing. But I did like it, I did enjoy it, and I will be getting the second book when it comes available. And I also give it a 5 out of 5 stars, I believe. If not 5, I give it 4. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to book 2. The last book I was reading in September, and probably the one I started first in September, is The Novice, book 1 in the summer series. I think this is going to be a trilogy, I'm not 100% sure. I'm halfway through this book. I'm going to continue it on this month as well, so that's coming into my October TBR. And so far I'm really liking it. I like the idea behind it. It's really interesting, and I really am liking it. Laziness has really kind of slowed me down with this book more than anything else, and I am going to continue reading it. So that's all the books I read in September. So I read 3.5 books so far, and yeah, I really enjoyed the books I read in September, and I definitely have to say the book that I really enjoyed the most in September was The School for Good and Evil, because it was just fun, it was light-hearted, there's a bit of humour in it, and it's just an overall fairy tale, and it was really enjoyable. So this is definitely my favourite book of September. Now moving on into my October TBR. As I mentioned already, The Novice, book 1 in the summer series, will be coming with me in October, so I will finish this book in October at some stage, hopefully very soon. Another book I am reading on October is Ready Player One. I have secretly already read this book because we're already in October. I've already read this book. I won't talk about this book until my wrap up. And yeah, this was now my October TBR. Book number 2.5. Queen of Shadows. I cannot wait to read this book. I really love this series. I don't know what took me so long to get into the series, but since I've started to read it, I just really loved it and cannot wait to read this book, which I plan to get through hopefully either next week or the week after. 1 or 2 of those weeks. The third book I hope to read in October is The Fairy War. This is book 3 in the Creepy Hollow series, and I've already started this book there today. I've already started this book today. I'm currently, I think, on chapter 11 of this book. I'm literally devouring these books because I think they're just really good. And yeah, so that's the third book I'm reading this month, so I'm nearly more or less ready to finish this book as well. I'm chapter 11, so I think there's like 30 something chapters in it, but I should have that read very soon. I think if I read it properly, I would have it finished in like 4 or 5 hours. Recap of the books I read in September. So in September I read Snow Like Ashes, School of Good and Evil, Meta, and half of The Novice in book 1 in the Summoner series. And they're the books I have read in September, and of course The Novice is continuing on over into October because I do want to finish it. I'm halfway through it. And in October I do plan to read Ready Player One. I've already read that one. Queen of Shadows, and of course Fairy War, book 3 in the Creepy Hollow series. And of course, as always, I will not stick to these books because I will find another book that I want to read, and because I've already kind of read Ready Player One, I have an opening there for another book, and I do hope to read a Brendan Sanderson book too, so maybe that might be put into this month, fingers crossed. That's all the books I have read in September and all the books I plan to read in October. And on that note, I shall see you all in the next chapter.